Hello children. So today we shall study with chapter 2, that is motion. So you all know that motion means movement. So let us study that when the position of an object with respect to the other object around it does not change with time, then we say it is at rest. So for example, a book kept on a desk doesn't move by itself and the object remains at rest. And even mountain buildings also remains at rest. So that means which does not move. Motion is which can move. Opposite of motion will be the rest. That is which does not move. So when the position of an object relative to its surrounding changes with time, we say that it is motion. Okay, did you all get the difference between rest and motion? So rest is what? The body does not move. And the motion is when it changes from its position. That is from one position to another position. If the object moves, then we say it is in the motion. So for example, moving car, buses, train, ticket, ball, etc. are even in motion. And all the planets revolving around the sun are in the motion. So how rest and motion are relative terms? So an object which is at rest can also be in motion simultaneously. For example, the passengers sitting in a moving train are in the rest with respect to each other. But they are also in motion at the same time with respect to the objects like trees, buildings, etc. So imagine you are sitting in the bus and the bus is moving, but you all feel that the outside the objects like house, hmm, the bus stop, or the people standing on the bus stop, you all feel they are moving and you all are at rest. But in fact, what is the case? You all are moving. Okay, the bus is moving and you all are in the motion, but you all feel that you all are at rest and the other objects are moving. So here I can see the one example, that is figure showing the change in the position of the bear. So slowly there is a change in the position of the bear. But you all feel that is at a particular rest. So if you are sitting in the train or bus, so if it is moving, that is you all are in the motion and the other objects outside are in the rest. So we say that rest and motion are relative terms. So next, let us study the types of motions. So that is one is random motion, regular motion. So under regular motion, we have translatory motion, rectilinear motion and curvilinear motion. Okay, apart from this, there are many motion. First, let us have a glance on it. So remember that the types of motion are random motion, regular motion. Under regular motion, you will have translatory motion. That is again rectilinear motion and curvilinear motion. So apart from this, we have rotatory motion, oscillatory motion, circular motion, periodic motion, uniform motion and non-uniform motion. So let us study one by one. First, random motion. So when the motion of a body does not have any pattern is called random motion. So the motion of a kite. So you will have seen the kite. So does it have any motion? No, but it can move in any pattern. Okay, and that kind of motion is known as a random motion. So another example I can give is mosquito. Okay, the motion of the mosquito. So just it moves randomly. So we say it is in the random motion. So when the motion of a body does not have any pattern is called random motion. So next we'll study is regular motion. So any motion that follows some sort of pattern is called regular motion. So regular motion can be of many types. That is first one, translatory motion. So when an object moves from one point to another along a straight line or a smooth curve, it is called a translatory motion. So as per I have seen, the translatory motion is divided into two types. That is rectilinear. Rectilinear means it will move in the straight line, and curvilinear in the curved path. So let us study them one by one. So the translatory motions are of two types. First one is rectilinear motion. So the motion of a body along a straight line is called rectilinear motion. For example, vehicles moving on a straight road or athletes running on a straight track. Okay? So the vehicles running or vehicles moving on a straight road. Road is straight, and if it's moving along a straight path, then we say it as a rectilinear motion. Or the athletes running in a straight track, okay, has to run in a straight track. They should not go in the curve path, okay. If it is goes in the curve path, then we say it as a curvilinear. If it is the straight, then we say it as a rectilinear. And the motion of a body along a straight line is called rectilinear motion. So the curvilinear motion is the motion of a body along a curved path is called curvilinear motion. So whenever a vehicle turns from one road into another, it follows the short curved path. And that type of motion we call as a curvilinear motion. The second example you can see here, the water coming out of a garden hose follows the curvilinear path. Okay, these are two types of translatory motion, that is rectilinear moving in a straight line and curvilinear moving in a curved path. So next we will study what is rotatory motion. So when an object turns or rotates or spins about an axis passing through itself, so its motion is called rotatory motion. Okay, for example, electrical fans, wheels of a car, etc. Okay, these are the rotatory motion. So what is that? It has to rotate on its own axis like a fan. So in the middle you can see it's constant and continuous. The blades are moving. So it is rotating on its own axis. So we call it as a rotatory motion. And apart from this, the wheels of a car, okay, so again it is a rotatory motion. So next is oscillatory motion. So yellow plates swing, yes or no? So that is again put a oscillatory motion. So the oscillatory motion is defined as the to and fro motion of an object from its mean position. So the typical example is the pendulum of a clock. Okay, it moves to and fro, and that is known as an oscillatory motion. And the swing also is an example of an oscillatory motion. So next is circular motion. So when a body moves around a circular path, its motion is called circular motion. For example, planets revolve around the sun. A natural satellite orbiting the earth is also an example of a circular motion. So it moves in a circular path. So there is slight difference between rotatory motion and circular motion. Rotatory motion spins around its own axis, okay, and circular motion moves around the circular path, okay. So you can give the examples such as sun and the planets moving around, or the earth, the natural satellite moon moving around the earth, okay. So these are the types of circular motion. So next we will study periodic motion. So any motion repeated after a fixed interval of time is periodic. For example, the motion of hands of a clock or the motion of the earth around the sun. So it should end up with a fixed interval of time. So we call it as a periodic motion. Okay. You all know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay, so it ends up with a particular fixed interval of a time. Hmm. So we consider them as a periodic motion. So next we'll study about a simple pendulum. Okay, a simple pendulum consists of a small heavy sphere called the bob and suspended by a light string from a fixed support in such a way that it can oscillate freely. So when the bob is released, the pendulum oscillates between two extreme positions on either side of a mean position. So here you can see a simple pendulum. Okay, just if you touch the bob and move, it will move freely from one end to the other end, passing through the median. Okay, so this is a simple pendulum. So the two extreme positions are marked like A and B, and the mean position is marked in the C. So to complete one oscillation of a pendulum, it will be described as that from one extreme position to the other and then back to its initial position. That is from A to B and again back to A. So you can see if you move the particular pendulum, again it reaches its position. So you can see the diagram. So between the two consecutive crossings of the mean position while moving in the same direction from C to A to B and again to C. So it completes its one oscillation. You can define it in the two ways. Okay. So next we'll study about second pendulum. A pendulum with a time period of exactly 2 seconds is called a second pendulum. Its length is very close to 1 meter. So it takes exactly 1 second to swing from one side to the other. So remember that the pendulum with a time period of exactly 2 seconds is called a second pendulum. So next we will study the term time period. That is the total time taken by a pendulum to complete one oscillation is called its time period. For example, a simple pendulum makes 20 oscillations in 24.6 seconds. So if you are going to find the time period of the particular pendulum, you need to substitute the values like divide it by the number of oscillations. So suppose now in that particular example, the time taken for 20 oscillation is 24.6 seconds given. So hence the time for one oscillation will be 24.6 divided by 20. So you get the answer 1.23 seconds. Therefore, the required time is 1.23 seconds. It will get. Next. So when describing the motion of an object, we generally use the term such as slow and fast. Okay. But to know exactly how fast or slow the motion is or to compare the fastness and slowness of a different moving objects, we need to define certain physical quantities and that we are going to discuss in this sections. Okay. To measure the motion of an object, whether it is slow or fast, we need the term such as speed. Okay, the speed is defined as the rate of change of distance. So we can calculate the speed by using the formula distance upon time. So you can see here, see that small box moving along a fixed line AB. So O is the fixed point on the AB. Can you all see that O is a fixed point on a AB. AB is a straight line. Okay, and the small box is going to move along it. So O is a fixed point on AB. So let the box move from the position P to the position Q in time T. Assume that it is moving with respect to the time T. Then the distance from O to P is x1. Okay, and from O to Q is x2. So thus the change in the distance of box measured from O is x2 minus x1. So which is equal to the x in the figure. So go through the figure properly and read it again and again so that you all will understand it. So see that the small box moving along a fixed line AB. O is the fixed point on AB. Let the box move from position P to the position Q in time T. Okay, it's assumption. Then the distance from O to P is x1 and from the O to Q is x2. So thus the change in the distance of box measured from O is x2 minus x1, which is equal to the x in the figure. So with the pink line you can see that x, whole distance will be x. So the speed of the box v, that is speed v, can calculate as x2 minus x1 upon t is x upon t, because x2 minus x1 is nothing but x. So the speed of a body is found by using the formula, that is distance covered by the body upon time taken to cover a distance. So let us study with one example, that is an object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds and then another 16 meter in 2 seconds. What is the average speed of an object? So it is the total distance travelled by the object, that is 16 meter plus 16 meter is 32 meter. So read the given question properly, then you will understand it. That is an object travels 16 meter in 4 seconds. Okay, this is the first part. And another 16 meter in 2 seconds. First you are taking the total distance travelled by the object is 16. Okay, then again you are going to add the 16 meter. So it will be totally 32 meter. And then calculate for the time. That is total time taken is 4 seconds plus 2 seconds. Then you will get 6 seconds. Then substitute the value. That is average speed is equal to total distance travelled upon total time taken. So total distance travelled is 32 meter and total time taken is 6 seconds. So when you divide 32 by 6 you will get 5.33 meters per second. Okay. So this is how you can calculate the average speed of an object. So next is distance. The distance travelled by the body is the actual length of the path covered by it irrespective of the direction in which the body travels. So you can see here the boy travelling of 5 kilometer and then again 2 kilometers. So what is the distance he travelled? 5 plus 2 is 7. Okay. This is the distance travelled by the body in actual length of the path covered by it irrespective of the direction. Okay. So we are not mentioning any direction the boy is travelling. So we are just mentioning that he is travelling from first 5 kilometer and then he is travelling to the 2 kilometer. But the same distance here he can cover it in the shortcut way. Okay. So and that will be a displacement. So displacement of a body is the shortest distance between its initial position and final position along with the direction. So see, so initially you have seen the boy is travelling from first 5 kilometer and then 2 kilometer. So directly he can reach that particular point in the shortcut, in the shortest distance, and that we say it as a displacement. So displacement is 6.57 kilometer in the direction shown by the arrow mark there. So you can see them. So it is the shortest distance and we don't call it as a distance, we call this as a displacement. Okay. Distance will be the actual length and displacement will be the shortest distance from its initial position and final position. So let us study the difference between distance and displacement. So the total length of the path covered by an object is distance, whereas displacement is shortest distance travelled by an object from initial position to final position. So it has only magnitude without direction, that is scalar quantity, and it has magnitude and direction, that is vector quantity. So it can either be 0 or positive, but displacement can be 0, positive or negative. So these are the difference between distance and displacement. So next we'll study what is velocity. So the velocity is defined as its rate of change of displacement. So velocity is equal to distance traveled in a given direction upon time taken. So the velocity is equal to displacement upon time taken. Since the velocity has both magnitude and direction, it is a vector quantity. So the velocity can be either positive, 0 or negative. So let us study with one example, that is the straight line distance from Mumbai to Delhi is 1200 km. Okay. So an aircraft flies from Delhi to Mumbai in 2.5 hours. Okay, 2.5 hours is nothing but 2.5 hours. Then find the velocity of a aircraft. B. If the aircraft takes the same time to fly from Delhi to Agra and then from Agra to Mumbai, would its velocity remain the same? So what would its velocity be if it is made the return flight from the Mumbai to Delhi in the same time? Okay, let us calculate it one by one. So first, what is given, that is displacement is 1200 kilometer and the time is 2.5 hours, that is 2.5 hours. Okay, so the velocity as per your learnt is displacement upon time. So substitute those values. Displacement is 1200 kilometer upon 2.5 hours. So that is equal to, when you calculate 1200 by 2.5, you will get 480 kilometers per hour. Remember, it is in terms of hour. The unit is in terms of kilometer per hour. We need not change anything to minutes or seconds. So properly it is in the terms of kilometer per hour. So when you divide 1200 by 2.5, you will get it 480 kilometers per hour. That is what its velocity, A1. Okay, we have calculated the velocity of an aircraft. So let us think over the second question, that is B. If the aircraft takes the same time to fly from Delhi to Agra and then from Agra to Mumbai, would its velocity remain the same? Yes, its velocity would be the same as in the first case because its path would be different and its displacement would be the same. So, its velocity would have been the same magnitude as in the A but in an opposite direction because it's going to come back for the question number C. Okay. This is one example to know what is velocity. So next we'll study uniform motion. So when an object travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, then we say a car covers 4 meter in first 2 seconds and then another 4 meter in next 2 seconds and so on. So what happens here? The object will travel equal distance. See here, 4 meter, 4 meter and in equal interval of time, that is 2 seconds, 2 seconds. So the distance as well as time taken is same and then we say it as a uniform motion. Did you all get it? So when an object travels equal distance in equal intervals of time, we say it as a uniform motion. So next is non-uniform motion. When an object travels unequal distance in equal intervals of time, then we say it is a non-uniform motion. See, here the distance varies but the time remains same. Okay, first a car covers 8 meter in 2 seconds and then 1 meter in another 2 seconds. So we say it as a non-uniform motion. So remember, when the object travels unequal distances in equal intervals of time, then we say it is a non-uniform motion. Okay, go through it again and again, read the lesson and if any doubt, you all can contact me. Thank you.